So, episode number 11 of Kaguya-sama. We have one episode left until the season finale for Kaguya-sama. And let's not waste any time. Let's just kind of really jump right into this episode because there's a lot that happened and a lot that we have to cover. The first thing that I want to really talk about is I love the concept that there was a phantom thief at the school. Now, I know that it is like a reference to like arson or Lupin and all that other stuff. But in reality, the moment that they introduced the Phantom Thief arc here, I immediately was thinking like Persona and Joker. And it made me kind of just like really smile like from end to end because that's like one of my favorite games of all time. And I love how they kind of brought it into here with the different clues. And, you know, they talked about stealing the heart and all those different things. And I love how Fujiwara or, you know, Chika is all completely consumed by this phantom thief. And she continues to kind of spring up during the episode. When she gets confessed to, she does a quiz time and she's like, I gotta go find the phantom thief. When Kaguya was worried about seeing her, she was like beelining it because there was a new clue that came out. So I love the overstanding narrative of this episode of the Phantom Thief at the cultural festival and how they kind of depict it what that Phantom Thief is. So I really that's the first thing I want to say is like I love that. The next thing I really want to touch base on is I also really enjoyed the comedy, the confusion, and the backtracking of the whole entire Ishigami Tsubame confession stuff. I love how Tsubame. So she said it perfectly. This episode is typically the people that kind of confess to her are always like they always end up being like the dude bro type of people. Like they're always like the, you know, athletes, you know, let's just go out for fun, let's just have fun, confession type things. And she's always scurving them or, you know, basically like just saying absolutely not to them because she's like, I'd rather not even go waste my time and just kind of focus on the things that matter to me. But because Ishigami is different than all those ones, the way that he confessed is different, and the way that she could feel his genuality, like his genuineness, and he's not the same kind of person that these other dudes are. Like they're just like, oh, let's have fun. He's being genuine, sincere, and serious about it, even if he's dumb enough to not realize that he truly confessed, which I gotta think by this point that he realizes. And with all the murmurings and everybody kind of talking about him everywhere, I'm kind of under the impression that he's finally caught on, but he might not have. But regardless, you know, because he is different, Tsubame's have been having a difficult time with it. And who does she end up confiding in? Kaguya. Kaguya basically, long story short, basically tells her like, yo, just go drop that bomb. Go cut him off. And then she finally realizes that, oh, she's actually talking about Ishigami, and she backtracks like, no, don't do that, don't break his heart, don't be that kind of bee, blah blah blah. And that was freaking hilarious because she was being ruthless and cutthroat in her advice. And when she finally realized that no, Tsubame is talking about Ishigami, she had to completely backtrack. The good thing is during that moment, Tsubame was able to witness the way that Ishigami is with Lino. And because of their relationship, he doesn't have that same timidness or he stumble over his words or anxiousness that he does with other people, like with Lino specifically, right? He's able to be himself. He's able to be a character. He's able to be kind of cool in a way. And when Tsubame sees that side of him, she was like, well, let me not say no because I don't really know him. And she saw just in that little moment, like that 10-second thing, that interaction, she saw a glimpse of him that like she hadn't personally seen yet, which means like there's multiple facets to him, which makes him interesting. So I love that because that's how real life works. You know what I mean? So then later on in the episode, I know I'm going to skip stuff, but later on in the episode, obviously Tsubame asks like, hey, let's go talk outside. Let's go watch this gymnastic stuff. So she's taking him away. So who knows what's going to happen? In episode 12, we're going to go and we're going to see this confession, or we're either going to see him get put on the back burner, basically say, you know, hey, let's get to know each other more and let's go from there. She's going to decline him, or she might accept it. Now, all those situations, again, comes back to our boy Ishigami understanding that, yo, you confessed, you know? So let's see on what ends up happening in that moment or not, because where that goes is left to be determined. Now, here's the meat and potatoes. Here's what I really loved about the episode and what I hated. Now, if you guys have been sticking with me, I have been talking about, there needs to be a moment here to where like we fast track the whole confession or love, whatever it is. We need to fast track Miyuki. We need to fast track Kaguya. And last episode I was talking, when Miyuki found out, hey, he's going to go to Stanford, he's going to come to the U.S., I was like, he needs to tell Kaguya ASAP, because whatever happens with their relationship can drastically change the course of his future. And a lot of times we think like, oh, maybe the girl isn't worth, staying there and everything. But the type of relationship, the type of the type of love that they could have could definitely change the course of both of their decisions. She could go follow him to the U.S. He could decide to then just stay here and study here. His old goals may not align anymore with his current goals. And his current goal, like, it's okay for his current goal to be her. So there could be a lot of changes that end up happening. But I love this episode, and I hated the fact that in the same capacity, I love that they got to share a day. I like how Miyuki was a little bit fearless. She was like, she pulled out all the normal stops that she does subconsciously and reactively. What if people think we're on a date? He was like, so what? They're like, oh, this girl is a fortune teller. She's a little bit promiscuous. So what? He asked the hard-hitting questions, during the fortune telling. He's like, well, what if we would get married? And even Kaguya was like, yo, what? And he, they got like the legit questions. And it all leads up to them going back to the student council room, and then Miyuki, sharing the information that he's going to go to Stanford with Kaguya, and that's kind of where we end the episode. So depending how she reacts this episode, depending what comes, or not this episode, but depending how she reacts next episode, depending what comes out of that could determine their future. Like, is she going to be real with her feelings? Is she going to not play games anymore and just be like, here's how I feel? Can Miyuki reciprocate? Can he do the same thing? Like, these are all definitely hard-hitting questions. But what I will say, this episode, I love this episode. I thought it was really good. I love the Fujiwara stuff. I love the Ishigami confusion stuff. I love the Kaguya backtracking. I love seeing Kaguya and Miyuki actually spend time together and in a real thing. And I love how Miyuki was a little bit fearless this episode, because like one of them needs to be that and the other will follow, right? Like when I'm telling you guys, like that moment where she was like, yo, what if we looked up like we're on a date? And he's like, so what? And she just followed him, like, oh, he just followed him. Like, yeah, that's what you guys have needed this past year or 2 years or whatever it is. So overall, this fantastic episode. I cannot wait till the next episode. Next episode is the final episode of the season. It's a season finale, and I'm hoping that it is a happy season finale. And I hope that they can share real feelings with each other, and then they have to decide on what's next. What's next for us, though, is the end of this video. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys leave a like. Make sure you guys comment and subscribe before you guys leave. And I'll see you next week for the finale of Kaguya-sama. Peace out.